What if the gift handed to you on September 12 isn't a blessing but a trap waiting to cost you everything? Many chosen ones don't lose their path through enemies, they lose it through false generosity. Stay with me, because what you accept or refuse on this day could shape your entire destiny. When we talk about September 12, we're not just pointing to a random date on the calendar, it's a day that falls in the aftermath of one of the most charged cosmic events of the year, the September 7 lunar eclipse. Eclipses are never isolated moments, their energy ripples outward for days, sometimes weeks. Think of it like throwing a stone into water. The splash is dramatic, but the ripples extend far beyond the initial point of impact. By September 12, we are standing in the thick of those ripples, and the atmosphere is saturated with unfinished energy shifts. This makes the day especially significant for the chosen ones, because opportunities and traps often emerge side by side during times of energetic vulnerability. Numerologically, the number 12 itself carries symbolic weight. Across spiritual traditions, 12 is a number of cycles and divine order, the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 disciples, the 12 months in a year. It represents completion, but also preparation for something new. That's what makes it tricky. Completion can feel like a finish line, but in truth, it's often the threshold to another test. On September 12, that energy of almost there can tempt people to relax their guard just when discernment is most needed. For chosen ones, this is when distractions are most likely to appear disguised as opportunities, when a gift may feel like a blessing but actually functions as a chain. Another layer of meaning comes from the timing in the lunar cycle. Just days after the eclipse, the moon is still carrying a sense of release and transformation. Emotions are heightened, inner revelations are raw, and clarity has not fully settled. It's like walking through a storm and thinking the danger has passed because the rain stopped, yet the ground is still slippery and lightning could still strike. On September 12, the spiritual atmosphere carries that same deceptive calm. You may feel lighter, but unseen currents are still shifting, and it's during these moments that hidden influences attempt to attach themselves to your path. For the chosen ones, these days are not coincidences, they are spiritual checkpoints. If you've ever felt like strange offers, unusual opportunities, or even unexpected generosity seem to show up right after you've made progress, you've experienced one of these checkpoints. It's as if the universe is asking, are you ready to protect the new level you're stepping into? Accepting the wrong thing during this period could quietly tether you back to old cycles, undoing the very breakthroughs you've worked so hard for. That's why September 12 is more than just a date. It's a test of awareness. It's a day when you're called to slow down, listen deeply, and examine everything placed before you. The gifts and offers that arrive on this day may not be what they seem, and the strength of the chosen ones lies in their ability to discern, to pause before receiving, and to trust their inner knowing over external appearances. By treating September 12 as sacred, you align yourself with clarity rather than confusion, and you step forward carrying only what truly belongs to your destiny. On the surface, a gift looks simple, a gesture of kindness, a token of appreciation, or a sign of love. But spiritually, gifts are never neutral. Every time you receive something from someone, you are entering into a subtle exchange of energy. This principle is as old as humanity itself. In ancient cultures, offerings were carefully examined before being accepted, because people knew that objects could carry more than just material value. They could carry intentions, blessings, or even hidden curses. Think of it like electricity. You can't see the current flowing through a wire, but you can certainly feel its effect if you touch it. A gift works the same way. It may appear harmless, a piece of jewelry, money slipped into your hand, or even food placed before you, but what's unseen is the energetic charge attached to it. If the giver carries jealousy, resentment, or hidden motives, those vibrations hitch a ride with the gift, entering your personal space the moment you accept it. Suddenly, you may feel drained, restless, or weighed down, without realizing that what you brought into your life was never meant to bless you. This is why the phrase, "nothing is truly free," holds more spiritual weight than most people realize. On a material level, we know people sometimes give because they want something in return, but on an energetic level, it goes deeper. Accepting a gift can create an unspoken bond, an invisible contract where your energy begins to intertwine with theirs. That's why manipulative people often use generosity as their weapon. They know once you take, you feel obliged. You may hear the unspoken message loud and clear: I gave to you, now you owe me. It's not just individuals who do this. Entire systems and institutions have historically used gifts as tools of control. Think of rulers who kept their people loyal by distributing riches only to demand obedience later, or colonial powers offering trinkets and luxuries while quietly binding whole nations into cycles of dependency. The pattern is the same. The one who gives first gains a foothold of power over the receiver. For the chosen ones, this principle takes on an even sharper edge. Because your light is valuable, the enemy will rarely approach you with open hostility. Instead, temptation is packaged as generosity. A gift becomes the perfect disguise because it appeals to your trust, your gratitude, and your desire for connection. But beneath the wrapping, it may carry the weight of obligation, spiritual interference, or even a curse meant to block your destiny. Understanding the hidden power of gifts doesn't mean rejecting every act of kindness. It means being awake to the reality that not all generosity is pure. Some gifts are sacred, they uplift, heal, and bless. Others are poisoned chalices, beautiful on the outside, destructive within. Your discernment, not your desire, is what separates the two. When you recognize that gifts are never just objects, but carriers of energy, you begin to guard your destiny more wisely, and that wisdom becomes your shield against losing what truly matters. Every person called to a higher path eventually faces a series of tests, and one of the most subtle yet powerful tests comes in the form of gifts. For the chosen ones, these moments aren't accidents, they are carefully placed trials designed to measure readiness for the next level. Think of it like a spiritual checkpoint. Before you can step into greater blessings, you must prove you can discern between what appears good and what is truly good. The danger is that most traps don't arrive looking like threats. They show up wrapped in kindness, decorated with generosity, and presented at exactly the moment when your guard is down. This is why gifts are such an effective battlefield. If someone came against you with open hostility, you would instantly recognize the threat. But when someone approaches with an offer, a token of love, or a seemingly harmless gesture, it feels harder to resist. The test isn't about greed. It's about whether you will pause long enough to sense the spirit behind the offering. This is why many chosen ones notice a strange pattern. Just before a breakthrough, unusual offers appear. It might be a job opportunity that looks too good to be true, a sudden financial favor, or even a person who showers you with unexpected attention. On the surface, it seems like a blessing, but beneath it lies a question. Are you able to see through the disguise? Passing the test means trusting your inner warning signals over appearances. History and scripture both show us that these tests are nothing new. Samson wasn't defeated by an army, but by the gift of intimacy that Delilah offered. Judas wasn't trapped by poverty, but by the lure of silver placed in his hand. These stories highlight that the greatest downfalls don't always come through force. They come when the chosen ones accept something that looks harmless, but carries hidden destruction. The enemy rarely knocks on your door shouting. He leaves a package on your doorstep and waits for you to bring it inside. For modern chosen ones, the battlefield looks different, but the principle is the same. You may notice people trying to help you at moments when you're most vulnerable. They offer advice, money, or favors, but their true goal is to tie you to them, to keep you from walking freely into your destiny. The test lies in your ability to stand firm, even when refusing feels awkward, even when saying no feels like losing something valuable. When you recognize gifts as potential tests, you stop seeing them only through the lens of gratitude and start viewing them as opportunities for discernment. Each test you pass sharpens your wisdom, strengthens your spirit, and signals to the universe that you are ready for greater things. Because the truth is this: real blessings never come with hidden strings. Passing the test of the gift ensures that what you receive is aligned with your purpose, not designed to destroy it. One of the most powerful ways to understand the danger of accepting the wrong gift is to look at history and scripture. Over and over again, we find examples of people whose destinies were shifted, not by outright attacks, but by accepting something that seemed harmless or even desirable. These stories remind us that gifts are rarely neutral. They are carriers of intention, and the wrong one can redirect the course of a life or even an entire nation. Take Samson, for instance. Known for his unmatched strength, he was feared by enemies and chosen by God to deliver his people. Yet his downfall came not on the battlefield, but in the quiet exchange of trust and intimacy with Delilah. She offered him comfort, affection, and the gift of companionship, but hidden beneath her gesture was betrayal. In the end, the strength that armies could not overcome was undone by the deceptive gift of love. His story is a warning. Not all that looks tender and caring is aligned with your purpose. Then there's Judas Iscariot, one of the 12 disciples who walked with Jesus. His acceptance of 30 pieces of silver is perhaps one of the most infamous transactions in history. The money looked like reward, but in reality, it was the price of betrayal. That silver did not enrich him, it haunted him. What was meant as gain became the very weight that destroyed him. This shows us that when we accept something rooted in hidden motives, the gift doesn't add to us, it subtracts from us, often in irreversible ways. History outside of Scripture tells the same story. In Greek mythology, the Trojan horse stands as the ultimate symbol of a poisoned gift. The Trojans believed they were receiving a beautiful offering of surrender, a trophy of victory. Instead, they invited their own destruction by rolling the wooden horse inside their gates. What looked like glory on the outside concealed an army within. That one act of acceptance ended their city. The Trojan horse remains a timeless metaphor for the dangers of taking in what looks too polished, too convenient, too good to question. Even in more recent history, we see echoes of this principle. Colonial powers often offered gifts to native populations, trinkets, luxuries, or supplies, while slowly binding entire nations into dependency. What looked like generosity was really a tool of control. The cost of those gifts was freedom, identity, and sovereignty. For the chosen ones today, these stories aren't distant myths or history lessons. They are mirrors reflecting a universal truth. Traps rarely come as open threats. They come wrapped as gifts, opportunities, or favors. The common thread is clear. Whether it's silver, intimacy, a wooden horse, or colonial treasures, the wrong gift always carries a hidden price, and the price is always greater than what you receive. The lesson is simple but profound. Discernment must come before acceptance. If Samson, Judas, or the Trojans had paused to look deeper, their stories might have ended differently. And for you, awareness can turn history's warnings into your protection. We often treat objects as if they're lifeless, but spiritually, nothing you bring into your life is truly neutral. Every item carries an imprint of the energy and intention of the person who gave it, used it, or created it. This is why gifts, no matter how small, can have an outsized impact on your emotional, mental, and even spiritual well-being. The truth is simple. Physical objects are vessels, and what they carry isn't always visible to the eye. Consider clothing. In many cultures, it's believed that wearing someone else's garment transfers part of their spirit to you. That belief isn't superstition. It reflects a deep understanding of energy. Clothing absorbs the emotions and aura of the one who wore it. A sweater gifted by someone with bitterness in their heart may feel heavy when you wear it. You might not be able to explain why, but your body and spirit know. Similarly, jewelry is often considered one of the most spiritually charged objects because it sits directly on the skin, near the heart, throat, or head, areas sensitive to energetic influence. A ring or necklace given with envy or ill intent can serve as a constant reminder of unseen chains. Money is another powerful example. It flows constantly through hands, businesses, and institutions, collecting energy as it moves. That's why sudden financial gifts from questionable sources often carry hidden burdens. What looks like a blessing of abundance may instead become a magnet for chaos, unexpected losses, debts, or conflicts that follow after the money enters your life. It's not the money itself that's cursed, but the intention that tagged along with it. Food, too, can act as a channel. When someone prepares or offers you a meal, they are literally placing their energy into your body. A meal cooked with love nourishes more than your stomach. It strengthens your spirit. But food offered with resentment or hidden agendas can leave you feeling drained, anxious, or unsettled. This is why spiritual traditions across the world emphasize blessing or praying over food before eating. It clears unseen energy and transforms what could harm into what can heal. The effects of these energy transfers are subtle but real. People often wonder why they suddenly feel restless in their own homes, why nightmares begin after bringing in a new object, or why opportunities dry up after accepting something harmless. More often than not, it's because the object was a Trojan horse, harboring energy not meant for you. For chosen ones, awareness of this principle is non-negotiable. Protecting your destiny means being intentional about what you allow into your personal space. Before accepting any object, pause and ask, what energy does this carry? How does my spirit feel about it? That pause alone can prevent you from carrying invisible baggage that was never yours to bear. By treating objects as carriers of energy, you begin to walk through life with sharper vision, welcoming only what uplifts and leaving behind what drains. On the surface, a gift is supposed to be an expression of kindness, but spiritually, not every gift carries purity. Some are wrapped in hidden motives, some are loaded with energy that can entangle your spirit, and some arrive at the exact wrong time, right when your destiny is vulnerable. The challenge for the chosen ones is to recognize the difference between a blessing and a snare, because not every gift is meant to be kept. One of the clearest signs that a gift is unsafe is the unease you feel around it. You may notice that your spirit resists, even while your mind tells you to be polite and accept it. That tension isn't random, it's intuition. For example, someone hands you a piece of jewelry, and instead of excitement, you feel a strange heaviness in your chest. Or perhaps you receive money and suddenly feel restless, as though the air around you has shifted. These signals are easy to ignore, but powerful when acknowledged. Another red flag is pressure. Safe gifts are freely given, without insistence or strings attached. Unsafe gifts, on the other hand, come with urgency. You must take this or don't say no. The giver may push you until you give in, leaving you feeling cornered. That insistence itself is a warning. A gift that is truly pure never forces itself into your life. Timing also matters. If the gift arrives during a spiritually sensitive season, right after you've had a breakthrough, or during a period of transition, it should be examined carefully. These are the moments when distractions are most likely to appear disguised as blessings. For instance, after a hard season of growth, you may suddenly receive a luxury item or an offer that feels like, finally, a reward. But sometimes, that very timing is what makes it dangerous. The enemy often waits until you're tired or celebratory, when your guard is down, to slip something in. Luxury can be another trap. Many assume that the more valuable or expensive a gift looks, the more of a blessing it must be. But in truth, value doesn't guarantee purity. A glittering watch given with jealousy or a car offered with hidden motives can bring more destruction than delight. The flashiness is often meant to distract you from asking the deeper questions. Why are they giving this? What do they gain? The truth is that safe gifts align with your spirit. They leave you feeling light, uplifted, and grateful without guilt. Unsafe gifts, by contrast, weigh on you, pressure you, or create unspoken debts. The challenge isn't to live in fear of every offering, but to pause long enough to notice these subtle signs. For chosen ones, discernment is the shield. Not every gift is safe, and recognizing that truth is what keeps you from carrying chains disguised as kindness. At first glance, gifts seem like harmless tokens of care. But for many, giving is not about kindness, it's about control. The act of giving can be one of the most manipulative tools people use because it creates an unspoken debt. Once you accept, you may feel obligated to give back, to compromise, or to tolerate behavior you normally wouldn't. For the chosen ones, this kind of manipulation is one of the most dangerous traps because it sneaks in under the mask of generosity. Think about how often people say, "After all I've done for you." That phrase alone reveals the hidden motive behind their generosity. The gift wasn't free, it was an investment in control. By reminding you of what they gave, they tighten the emotional leash. Suddenly, you feel guilty for saying no, for setting boundaries, or for walking away. What looked like kindness becomes a prison. This type of manipulation can appear in different forms. The fake friend showers you with small favors, only to later expect loyalty when they gossip about others or drag you into conflict. The jealous family member hands you a gift at a gathering, not to honor you, but to create the image of closeness while secretly resenting your growth. The opportunistic lover overwhelms you with expensive presents, but in exchange demands ownership over your choices, your time, and even your identity. Each scenario reveals the same truth. The gift is never just about the item, it's about emotional leverage. The guilt factor is one of the strongest weapons here. Many people are trained from childhood to equate refusing a gift with being ungrateful or rude. Manipulators exploit this. They rely on your politeness, your empathy, and your desire not to offend. By taking advantage of these good qualities, they create a cycle where you keep accepting and therefore keep owing even when your spirit resists. For chosen ones, the challenge is learning to separate kindness from control. Real generosity never holds you hostage. It leaves you free, not bound. If you feel guilt, fear, or pressure after receiving something, it's not a gift, it's bait. Recognizing this dynamic is the first step to breaking free. Breaking these emotional traps requires courage. It means being willing to say no, even when it feels uncomfortable. It means trusting your inner compass more than social expectations. And most importantly, it means remembering that your destiny is too valuable to be traded for temporary comfort. When you stop allowing gifts to manipulate your emotions, you reclaim your freedom. The manipulator loses their power, and you step back into alignment with blessings that come without strings attached. Every gift comes with an invisible thread. Sometimes that thread is woven from love, goodwill, and blessing. It uplifts you, strengthens bonds, and adds light to your path. But other times, the thread is made of obligation. It pulls you in directions you never intended to go, tying your spirit to people and situations that drain rather than uplift. For the chosen ones, recognizing these hidden ties is critical, because your destiny depends on walking freely, not bound by unseen contracts. When you accept a gift, you subconsciously give the giver a form of access. It's not always obvious at first. It may start with something as simple as feeling guilty if you don't return the favor. You might catch yourself thinking, "They gave me this, so I owe them at least that." Before long, your choices are no longer fully your own. They are filtered through a sense of debt, whether real or imagined. What felt like kindness becomes a subtle form of control. Energetically, this is even more profound. Spiritual traditions across the world speak about the concept of cords, invisible connections formed through interactions, emotions, or exchanges. Gifts can be one of the strongest ways these cords form. When the intention behind the gift is pure, the cord is one of love and mutual blessing. But when the intention is rooted in envy, manipulation, or selfishness, the cord becomes a tether, draining your energy and delaying your blessings. You may find yourself carrying burdens that aren't yours, dealing with setbacks that seem unexplainable, or struggling to move forward while feeling spiritually tied down. History provides many examples of how obligation has been used as a tool of power. Kings would shower their subjects with riches, not out of generosity, but to ensure loyalty. Communities were bound by the gifts of rulers, unable to refuse without risking their lives. On a smaller scale, many people today still experience this same dynamic in families, friendships, or workplaces. Favors given to keep others silent, gifts offered to secure compliance, and tokens handed over just to claim, "You wouldn't have this without me." The danger for the chosen ones lies in how these ties of obligation block the flow of divine blessings. You can't fully step into your new season if you're still tied to the old. You can't receive what is meant for you if your hands are busy holding onto what someone else slipped into them. This is why discernment matters. It's not about being ungrateful, but about protecting your freedom. The good news is that cords can be broken. Awareness is the first step, but intentional action is the second, through prayer, affirmations, or simply the courage to release what doesn't belong. By cutting ties of obligation, you make space for authentic blessings to reach you. You stop walking in cycles of guilt and start walking in freedom. And freedom is the soil where your true destiny can grow. One of the greatest protections the chosen ones carry is discernment, the ability to see beyond appearances and sense the truth of a situation. When it comes to gifts, this skill is not just helpful, it is essential, because while some gifts uplift and bless, others are designed to distract, bind, or drain. The challenge is learning how to tell the difference before it's too late. The first tool of discernment is intuition. Your spirit often knows before your mind does. Maybe you feel a sudden heaviness when the gift is placed in your hand, or you notice a quiet discomfort in your chest. Sometimes, you may even hear a small inner voice whisper, "This isn't for you." These signals are easy to dismiss as overthinking, but they are often the clearest warnings. Trusting these nudges is like trusting your body when it warns you not to touch something hot. You don't need to understand every detail to know it will hurt you. Prayer and meditation provide another powerful filter. Taking a moment to bring the gift before God or to sit in silence and ask for clarity can reveal what's hidden. Many chosen ones find that after praying, their feelings about the gift shift. They may suddenly feel lighter, or they may feel even more resistance. The change itself is guidance. Spiritual discernment isn't always about dramatic visions. Often, it's the subtle shift that shows whether something aligns with your higher path. Practical reflection is also valuable. Ask yourself, why is this person giving me this gift? What might they expect in return? How does it make me feel, empowered or obligated? Would they still value me if I said no? Honest answers to these questions reveal motives faster than any surface smile. For example, if you realize that refusing the gift would cost you the relationship, then it was never about love, it was about leverage. Another useful sign is how the gift fits into your journey. Gifts aligned with your destiny usually feel timely, supportive, and uplifting. They don't pressure you, they empower you. By contrast, poisoned gifts often feel flashy but out of place, like puzzle pieces that don't belong in your picture. For instance, being offered sudden wealth when you're in the middle of a spiritual refinement season may not be a blessing, it may be a test. Discernment ultimately comes down to trust, trusting your spirit, trusting the signs, and trusting that refusing the wrong thing won't block your blessings, it will protect them. The enemy uses disguise because he cannot touch your destiny directly. He can only tempt you to invite in what derails it. But when you sharpen discernment, you become unshakable. You stop reacting to appearances and start responding to truth. And in that truth, you find freedom, clarity, and the strength to carry only what was truly meant for you. If there's one thing the chosen ones learn over time, it's that breakthroughs and battles often arrive hand in hand. The moment you step into a new level of clarity, healing, or opportunity, opposition shows up. This isn't coincidence, it's strategy. The enemy understands timing, and one of the most calculated tactics he uses is to place traps right after your victories. Why? Because that's when you're most likely to let your guard down. Think about it, when you've been struggling for months and finally catch a breakthrough, whether it's financial relief, emotional peace, or spiritual clarity, you naturally want to celebrate. You breathe easier, you relax, and you feel like the storm has passed. That moment of relief is exactly when distractions sneak in. The trap rarely looks like trouble, it looks like reward. A gift shows up, a new opportunity appears, or someone suddenly wants to reconnect. It feels like the universe is blessing you, but in reality, it's a test to see if you can hold your ground when temptation arrives dressed as generosity. September 12 carries this exact energy. Coming just days after the September 7 lunar eclipse, the atmosphere is still unstable. The eclipse stirred emotions, revealed truths, and pushed hidden things into the light. But by the 12th, there's a deceptive calm, like the quiet after a storm, when the skies look clear but the ground is still slippery. This is why it's a prime day for interference. People may approach with offers, gifts, or opportunities that seem perfectly timed, but in truth, they are designed to pull you back into cycles you've just broken free from. It's not unlike how predators hunt in nature. They don't attack when their prey is most alert. They wait until it pauses to drink, to rest, or to celebrate safety. The same is true spiritually. The enemy waits for the moment when you think you've made it, and then dangles something shiny, hoping you'll take the bait without questioning it. History gives us countless examples of this tactic. Ancient rulers often sealed the downfall of their enemies not through war, but by offering alliances and peace gifts right after those enemies had won small victories. Once the gift was accepted, the trap was set. Even in personal life, how often do toxic people reappear right after you've healed from them, suddenly wanting to give you something to make it right? The timing isn't accidental. It's a strategy to reopen wounds and reattach cords. For chosen ones, the key is awareness. Recognize that not every reward offered after a battle is truly a blessing. Sometimes, it's the final hurdle before you fully step into your next season. Saying no in those moments doesn't delay your destiny, it protects it. By guarding yourself during these post-breakthrough windows, especially on days like September 12, you prove that your discernment is stronger than distraction, and that is what unlocks the blessings that are truly yours. The chosen ones are like lighthouses, bright, noticeable, and impossible to hide. But that visibility also makes you a target for draining forces. This is why protecting your energy field is not optional, it's essential. Just as you lock your home at night to keep intruders out, you must also create safeguards around your spirit so that not every influence or object can gain access to you. The first layer of protection is spiritual practice. Daily prayer, affirmations, or meditation act like a shield that repels negative energy. When you begin your day by declaring your alignment with divine purpose, you set the tone for what can and cannot enter your space. Many chosen ones also find fasting or intentional silence powerful, because these practices sharpen discernment and break subtle attachments that try to creep in unnoticed. The second layer is physical symbolism. Across traditions, protective items like salt, oils, or blessed water have been used to guard homes and bodies. These are not superstitions, they're reminders that intention transforms the ordinary into the sacred. For example, anointing oil on your forehead or doorpost serves as a declaration that only what carries light may cross your threshold. Even something as simple as cleansing your space with sound, bells, clapping, or music that uplifts can shift the atmosphere and remove stagnant energy. Another crucial layer of protection is boundaries. Too often, chosen ones leave themselves vulnerable because they don't want to offend others, but spiritual safety sometimes requires a firm no. If someone insists you accept a gift and your spirit says otherwise, your boundary is the shield that protects your destiny. Remember, saying no to a person doesn't mean rejecting love. It means choosing alignment with your higher path. It's also important to guard your energy emotionally. This means paying attention to what drains you, conversations that leave you heavy, environments that stir anxiety, or people who constantly demand more than they give. These are all energy leaks. Protecting yourself isn't just about warding off physical objects. It's also about deciding which relationships and settings are worthy of your presence. Finally, protection involves maintenance. Just as you don't clean your home once and assume it will stay spotless forever, you can't protect your spirit once and expect the shield to last indefinitely. Make cleansing and grounding a regular habit. At the end of each day, release what isn't yours through prayer or simple affirmations. I release any energy that does not belong to me. I call back my power. These small acts close the doors that might have been left open during the day. For the chosen ones, protection is not fear, it's wisdom. It's the conscious choice to value your energy, your purpose, and your destiny enough to guard them fiercely. Because when your field is secure, no poisoned gift, no disguised trap, and no hidden agenda can take away what was meant for you. Saying no is one of the most powerful spiritual tools you have, yet for many of the chosen ones, it's also one of the hardest. From a young age, we're taught that refusing a gift is rude or ungrateful, that conditioning makes it easy for manipulative people to take advantage of our kindness. But the truth is this: sometimes the most loving act you can do for yourself is to say no, and to say it with confidence and grace. The key lies in how you decline. A gracious refusal is firm but respectful. It doesn't require over-explaining or defensiveness. Simple phrases like, "Thank you so much for thinking of me, but I can't accept this," or "I appreciate your gesture, but I must kindly decline," carry both dignity and clarity. Notice that these statements honor the giver while also protecting your boundaries. They don't invite argument, and they don't leave room for guilt to creep in. Another important aspect of graciously declining is recognizing timing. Sometimes, it's best to respond immediately before the giver's pressure builds. If you sense manipulation or spiritual heaviness tied to a gift, declining right away prevents unnecessary entanglement. Other times, you may need to step back and say, "Let me think about it." This creates space for discernment, allowing you to pray, reflect, or seek clarity before making a decision. Either way, the point is the same. You are not obligated to say yes just because something is handed to you. Many chosen ones struggle with guilt when turning down gifts, but guilt is often a false teacher. True gifts never come attached to guilt. They leave you feeling light, not heavy. When refusing feels uncomfortable, remind yourself, you are not rejecting the person, you are protecting your purpose. Your destiny is bigger than one awkward moment, and those who truly value you will respect your decision, even if they don't understand it. Declining with grace also involves body language and energy. Speak calmly, smile if you wish, but stay firm in your tone. Manipulative givers thrive on hesitation. They will push if they sense uncertainty. By showing quiet confidence, you communicate that your decision is final without hostility. It's also worth remembering that declining a gift doesn't close the door to kindness. It simply closes the door to manipulation. By refusing what doesn't align, you make space for blessings that do. Life has a way of rewarding those who honor their boundaries. The very thing you thought you lost by saying no often returns in a purer, safer form later. For the chosen ones, gracious refusal is not rejection, it's protection. It's the art of guarding your energy without burning bridges. Every time you say no with dignity, you prove to yourself and the universe that your destiny cannot be bought, manipulated, or derailed by a temporary offering. And that strength is the foundation of true freedom. Every challenge the chosen ones face carries a hidden gift, not in the object offered, but in the wisdom gained. When you refuse a toxic gift, you aren't just avoiding a trap, you are transforming the moment into a lesson that strengthens your spirit. What once felt like pressure becomes proof that you are growing. What once felt like temptation becomes training for your discernment. This is the real power of saying no. It doesn't just protect you, it elevates you. Think of each test as a spiritual classroom. The teacher may come disguised as a generous friend, a sudden opportunity, or even a family member offering something you know doesn't sit right. The test isn't about the gift itself. It's about whether you've learned to value your destiny over appearances. Every time you pass, you graduate into a higher level of clarity. Like a muscle, discernment grows stronger the more you use it. Soon, what once confused you becomes easy to spot, and you find yourself walking with a confidence you didn't have before. It's also important to see these lessons not as punishments, but as confirmations. The very fact that you are tested shows that you're on the edge of something greater. No one tests a lock unless there's treasure behind it. When you face these disguised traps, it's evidence that your breakthrough is near. The enemy only bothers with those carrying something valuable. This perspective shifts the experience. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start declaring, "This means I'm close to my blessing." Another way to transform the lesson is by reframing refusal as empowerment. Too often, people fear that saying no will leave them with less, but the opposite is true. Saying no to the wrong thing makes space for the right thing. A poisoned chalice can only occupy your hands if they're open to receive it. When you refuse it, your hands remain empty but ready for the true blessing that was meant for you all along. These lessons also create wisdom you can share. The chosen ones are not only tested for themselves, but also so they can guide others. When you've learned to identify manipulative generosity, you can help others see it too. Your story becomes a light for someone still walking through the same shadows. In this way, your test transforms into a testimony, and what was once a trap becomes a tool for lifting others higher. Ultimately, every declined gift, every resisted temptation, and every broken cord becomes part of your spiritual armor. Instead of being wounded by the test, you walk away stronger, wiser, and freer. The transformation is simple but profound. The enemy meant it to derail you, but it became the very lesson that prepared you for your next victory. When you refuse what doesn't belong to you, you don't lose, you win space for what was truly meant for you. This is the final reward for discernment, the freedom to walk into your blessings without chains, without guilt, and without hidden traps holding you back. For the chosen ones, the journey isn't just about avoiding the wrong path, it's about clearing the way for the right one. True blessings come without strings attached. They don't demand your silence, your compromise, or your loyalty in exchange. They flow into your life with peace. You can feel it the moment they arrive. Your spirit is lighter, not heavier. Your heart feels free, not bound. Contrast this with false gifts, which leave you restless or uncertain. This difference is how you know you've stepped into alignment. By saying no to the poisoned chalice, you've proven your readiness for the cup of true abundance. By resisting manipulation, you've shown that your loyalty belongs to your higher calling, not to fleeting temptations. Each test you pass isn't just a small victory, it's an announcement to the spiritual realm that you are prepared for the next level. And when heaven sees your readiness, doors begin to open that no one can shut. Walking into your blessings also means releasing fear. Fear often whispers, if I don't accept this, nothing better will come. But faith declares, if I decline what isn't for me, I create space for what is. The chosen ones walk by faith, not desperation. You are not at the mercy of poisoned gifts. You are aligned with a source that never runs dry. That shift in mindset transforms every refusal into an act of trust, every boundary into a step forward. Another key to walking into blessings is gratitude. When you decline what doesn't serve you, don't dwell on the loss. Instead, thank God for the clarity, thank your spirit for guiding you, and thank yourself for having the courage to honor your path. Gratitude multiplies blessings. It tells the universe you're ready for more, not because you cling to everything offered, but because you only carry what's aligned. And finally, remember this: blessings aren't just about material wealth. They're about peace of mind, spiritual strength, authentic relationships, and opportunities that lift you higher. When you filter out the false, you make room for blessings that overflow into every area of your life. That is the real reward of discernment, not just avoiding traps, but living in freedom, prosperity, and purpose. So as you step forward, declare this affirmation: I am guided, I am protected, I will not be deceived. What belongs to me will come to me in purity and in peace. Hold it in your heart and let it be your anchor, because once you learn to refuse what isn't yours, you'll find yourself walking confidently into everything that is.